Hey guys, this is Will from PT Final Exam, just here to talk to you about the changes that are coming to the NPTE for 2018 and beyond, and how that should affect you and how it's going to affect you in your studies as you prepare for exam day. So let's dive right in here. So the biggest change that's coming to 2018 is that they have separated the lymphatic system away from the cardiovascular and pulmonary system. So before, the way it worked is you had this giant system of the cardiovascular, pulmonary, and lymphatic system all together. And so you did have questions on the lymphatic system, whereas now that where they've separated it, it guarantees a number of questions relating to the lymphatic system. So you'll have a guaranteed somewhere between 3 and 8 questions relating to that lymphatic system. And this will span all the way from examination to evaluation, differential diagnosis and prognosis, and intervention relating to the lymphatic system. And again, this was being asked before and it was part of the exam, but now it is a guaranteed part of the exam and has been separated from the cardiovascular and pulmonary systems. The other big change is that they've now added a gastrointestinal system examination portion, or a GI system examination section. Well, I think it's funny they put the range of questions somewhere between 0 and 2 questions will be asked on the GI system examination portion. So you can pretty much plan on at least one question. This will be relating to either bowel management, esophageal issues, reflux issues, hiatal hernias, all the way to quadrant pain, upper right, upper left, lower right, lower left quadrant pain relating to the gastrointestinal system. All of this comes, and they've also reduced the musculoskeletal system by about 10%. This means they've reduced the number of questions in the musculoskeletal system in order to accommodate the other questions they've placed in here relating to the lymphatic system, the GI system, and also the genitourinary system. So really, but everything else is very minor. The changes have been very, very minor as compared to the 2013 changes 5 years ago. These changes for 2018 are really pretty minor as far as you look at it. So minor reallocations there. The PTA, they have pretty much the same thing going on here. They have the lymphatic system. They have gastrointestinal system. They call it data collection, looking at information relating to the GI system. And then another interesting thing is that the PEATs are now revised and available, reflecting the 2018 content outlines. So PEAT stands for the Practice Examination and Assessment Tool that's provided by the FSBPT, and those are available for purchase on the FSBPT website. They are now reflecting the new content outlines for 2018. And so here's a document that I want everyone to spend some time getting to know. This is the NPTE Content Outline. This is published by the FSBPT, and it really outlines the number of questions for each category that will be tested on the NPTE. So you can see that's where we got the lymphatic system. 3 to 8 questions will be definitely asked about the lymphatic system. Added the GI system examination as well as the GU system. Had some minor changes there. The musculoskeletal system is down by a few questions, and that's just to accommodate the other questions that are coming from the lymphatic system, cardiovascular, pulmonary, and neuromuscular. So really, all told, looking at this outline, your big take-home message should be that the big systems are still cardiovascular, pulmonary, musculoskeletal, and neuromuscular. So that should be where you're spending the bulk of your time. I mean, 3/4 of the test pretty much comes from that section. And then look at these other sections. Obviously, you definitely need to know them, but spend a proportionate and appropriate amount of time on them rather than spending all of your time on lymphatics and not studying your musculoskeletal, neuromuscular, or cardiovascular system. So that's the content outline. You can find the content outline on fsbpt.org. It's all published, free information. You can also see a textbook survey. This is what shows the textbooks that are being used by educators in the PT world these days. And just so you know, it's no secret, the FSBPT creates these creates the NPTE questions directly from textbook content. So that's why you need to be familiar with your textbooks. Don't throw them away yet. Don't sell them yet. Use them as a resource as you're preparing for exam day. And then another interesting thing to look at is the practice analysis. This is just an analysis the FSBPT does every few years to make sure that the NPTE represents current practice in the PT world. So all great resources to check out on fsbpt.org. So the other big change that came to the is coming to the 2018 exams is that the standard for passing has increased by a few questions. So for PT, you have to answer about 4 more questions correctly, and the PTA exam, you have to answer about 3 more questions correctly. And this was not just a unilateral decision by the FSBPT home office. This is a board of very diverse, qualified experts in the field. We're talking physical therapists across the spectrum, both in practice age, meaning someone who's just out of PT school and has just begun their practice, to someone who's been out of school for a long time, and then across the practice continuum, all the way from those who spend time in inpatient to home health, outpatient. So they took a very diverse panel, and in essence, they set the standard, and you can see the trend has been happening over the last 20 years, that the standard to be a PT has been increasing slowly, and that's because of really a couple of really big things. The direct access that PTs now have, meaning that we have to treat patients a bit more independently. We're never totally independent, but a bit more independently. And as states are more and more getting on the bandwagon of allowing PTs to have direct access to patients, it means that we have to be more qualified in order to see those patients and treat them. The other big thing is that patients are coming out of hospital settings quicker and sicker, is what they call it. So a lot more comorbidities are coming out, which really puts the onus on us as PTs to make sure that we know our stuff when we're treating those individuals. And same thing for PTAs. We just have to be more qualified. We have to do better and have an increased standard. And that's just been reflected in this increase in standard. And it occurs about every 5 years. So about 4 more questions correctly. You have to answer about 4 more questions correct in order to pass the exams, and PTA have to answer about 3 more questions correct. So again, minor, but worth noting that it's serious, and you've got to really know your stuff, and the standard is increasing slowly. And so that's kind of the whole thing in a nutshell. The lymphatic system separation is maybe the biggest news for the 2018 update. They've increased the cut score, or the standard, to pass the NPTE by a few questions. They've had some other minor reallocations of items. And just so you know, you can always come to ptfinalexam.com. We talk about any updates that are coming to the NPT. We've got live online review courses, fun and intuitive ways to study for the NPT. Great way to prepare for game day, because it's something you want to prepare well for. So there you go. There are your updates for 2018, and always feel free to email me if you have any questions. Always happy to answer that. Check out ptfinalexam.com. You can click the contact button and get a hold of me anytime. So anyway, hope you have a fantastic day. Study well, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks.